Hello everyone, my name is Russell B. Couples. I was a small engine mechanic for about 35 years as a small engine shop foreman supervisor for about 30 of those. But here's some stuff I want to tell you. I'm not a small engine mechanic anymore. I'm disabled now, and I'm hoping to get back into it though. It gets in your blood, and I miss it. I thought I was ready to quit, but I wasn't. But anyway, when you need a part for your lawnmower, a chainsaw, trimmer, tiller, whatever, any small engine equipment, you must have your model and serial number, and here's why. Especially on your engine, you need model type and code, and on a bridge, you need a model and spec number off of Kohler, so on and so forth. And the reason you have to do this is because the EPA is changing. Sorry about the quality of the film. Is changing the rules so fast that the engine manufacturers are having to change also. That being said, you could have a 21 horsepower engine with a totally different setup from another 21 horsepower engine. And that's the reason you have to have your model type code or model spec and serial. Is because they need to know which engine you've got to make sure that you've got the right part. Now, lawnmowers are kind of the same way, kind of. They have rules that are applied to them that they are having to change real fast. And a lot of times they don't even get to engineer or test these designs. And it's up to the consumer to test it. And that's when um, uh, people get upset because their equipment is not holding up quite like they should. It's not the equipment's fault in most cases. Now, some cases they're just bad designs, but in most cases it's due to keep up with OSHA and all that stuff. But I remember when I was a mechanic, I was had to look up parts, and it specifies on the part the form that you look up on online that you must have a serial number or model type and code, model spec, serial. Um, I'm just gonna say model type and code from now on, but you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, and the reason, like I said, the reason they do that is because the EPA is changing the rules so fast that they're having to change their engines just about as fast as they make them. And so one part, or a part for one engine, 21 horse, it may not fit another engine, which is 21 horse, same make. Um, and like I said, it's not the manufacturer's fault. It's all due to regulation. If you don't have these items and you get your parts, you'll probably be bringing it back. I know, I can't remember what horsepower it is now. I had a minor stroke, but I can't remember which model it is now for sure. But I know that even the range was different um, on these engines. Uh, and like, let's say an MTD that's got the variable speed, where you put it in high and low, and you got the little lever that goes from 1 to 5, 1 to 7. Um, the design in the back of the mower is different. Now, in some cases, this is trying to make it better. They had problems with it. They tried to redesign it, but it's the same mower. It's just redesigned. And the belt off of a one mower will not necessarily fit the mower of the same model. And that's where you have to have your serial numbers. I know a lot of people get mad about that, and I understand that. It's irritating to me when I try to go get parts for mine. But that's just the way it is. It's not the companies that you're buying your parts from's fault. It has nothing to do with them. It's all government regulation or redesign. Sorry about the cigarette, folks. And sorry about the glare off my glasses. But that's some stuff you really need to know. Now, on two-cycle equipment, where you have to mix your gas and oil, that's a two-cycle. They claim that 50 to 1, it's not going to smoke as bad, obviously, but with methanol, which is alcohol, makes the engines run hotter, which means they're not going to last nowhere near as long as they used to. And once again, that is not the equipment manufacturer's fault. It's EPA. But here's what I'm going to tell you. If you get a package of oil that says, or a little bottle or whatever you use, I like Optic 2. That's what I've always used, never had no problem out of it. But let's say you get a small bottle and it says mix 1 gallon to achieve 50 to 1. Well, you take that and you mix it with 3/4 of a gallon, and that'll get you approximately 40 to 1. Now, if you go any more than that, any more oil than that, the engine can't evacuate it, and it will burn on the piston, act like a brake, and finally burn the engine up. Otherwise, if you go 50 to 1, the ethanol is making it run so hot that the range just breaks down. And most stuff nowadays, not all, but most is disposable. Let's say, for instance, we did a feather light. You can get one of them, a feather light, for about $69, I think. Well, if you had to rebuild the carburetor and put fuel lines in it, $10 more, you buy a new one. All right. But anyway, if you, like I said, if you take a 1 gallon mix that achieves 50 to 1, mixed with 3/4 of a gallon. If you have a 2 gallon mix that makes 50 to 1, then use a gallon and a half, gallon and a quarter, gallon and a quarter. And that'll get you 40 to 1. And once again, now, you don't want to use too much oil. You don't want to go more than that. Like 32 to 1 and a 50 to 1 unit will burn it up. I know that sounds odd, put more oil in it and burn it up. Well, like I said, what it does is the ethanol creates so much heat that it will actually burn on the piston what it can't evacuate. And it will act like a brake. And in turn, that brake is scoring the piston in the cylinder. In which case, you might as well throw it away because it's not worth rebuilding. 50 to 1 mix is not good with today's fuel. Now, if we had our old type fuel without the methanol in it, it would probably be okay. But right now, we're talking about right now. Right now, with methanol, the engine will run a lot hotter and it will burn it up at 50 to 1. 40 to 1 helps a lot. I'm not saying it'll stop it from burning up. I'm saying it will last a lot longer. My neighbor, I told him that he's got a 50 to 1 unit. And I told him to mix his with 3/4 of a gallon. He's had that dude for about, let's see, 5 or 6 years, I think. And it's a cheap Boland's trimmer. One of the cheapest you can get. But it has lasted that long. I've seen weed eater feather lights last up to 2 years in commercial use. Commercial use. Because they did what I said, mixed it with 3/4 of a gallon, which makes 40 to 1. 2 years on a feather light is a long time using it every day. Even a premium unit like Echo, Steel, Husqvarna, all them, Sundawa, I mean, even all them do good the last 2 years, unless you do it the way I said. There was something else I was wanting to talk about, And I don't remember what it was, so I guess I'll have to do that later. I'm getting old, folks. I'm 53 going on 100. Matter of fact, my birthday's coming up in July. I'll be 100. But anyway, I hope some of this helped. Oh, yeah. Uh, if your lawnmower is not cutting even, if it's cutting, looks like a bad haircut, number one, you may have a deck spindle going down that the blade hooks to, and the pulley on the other end where the belt hooks to. A deck spindle. Murray calls it quill housing and quills, but a lot of people calls it deck spindle. Well, if you don't have either one of those problems, check the air in your tires. This deck actually sits underneath the frame of the mower. If your mower has a low tire on one side, this deck hanging from the frame, no suspension on the rear, it's going to lean. Let's say your right rear tire is low. Well, it's going to cut lower on the right than it is the left. Matter of fact, when the right side drops, the left side comes up because it's fixed originally. Well, I say originally, they're floating decks, just about all of them now, if not all. But anyway, always make sure the air in your tires is set right. Yes, I'm in the bathroom. I got air conditioners going throughout the house, and I can't hear nothing in any other room. But anyway, check your tires. Now, it depends on how big you are. I always weighed 220 until I got disabled. Now I'm down to 196. So I affect it, but not as bad as a bigger person. At 220, I had to make dang sure my tires was up, especially if you're mowing on a hill. I might as well put that out. But if you're a bigger person, put 20 pounds in the back tires, 20 pounds in the front. If you're not a bigger person, put 15. This will keep the tire from flexing like on hills, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, like on hills and such, and it won't look like a bad haircut unless you got a bad spindle or a bad blade, a bent blade. And a lot of times your blade just being wore out will make a bad haircut, which is the case I'm having right now. I just can't afford blades. But I know that's what it is because I keep my tires at 20 pounds. Now, at 20 pounds, they're not going to bite like they did at 15 or 10, because the track is not as wide. So they will spin more. Something you gotta get used to. There was something else I was going to talk about. I don't know. I apologize. I just don't know what else it was. But anyway, I hope all them tips help. I think it will. I'm hoping it will. But anyway, there's some things you can try. And God bless you. Have a good day. Thanks for listening. Have a great remainder of the day or night, whenever it is you see this. And thank you so very much for listening. Bye.